Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage at Bannister Hyundai. Today, I want to talk about the safety features in typical Hyundai vehicles. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because, quite frankly, there are so many different things in vehicles these days related to safety, and Hyundai is definitely one of the companies at the forefront of providing new safety technology. And quite frankly, there are so many different features involved now that it's kind of hard to keep track. Gone are the days where, you had a seatbelt and airbags, and now we have things like lane keep assistance and autonomous braking and just all sorts of insanely cool features. So what I've got today is a 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is an incredibly safe vehicle. It's the International Institute of Highway Safety Top Safety Pick Plus. Now the plus basically denotes that it's got headlights that pass a specific safety rating. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all of the features on this vehicle related to safety. That's it. Now, if you really like this car, I did do a full video of the Santa Fe calligraphy trim, which is what this is. Check my my videos out for that. I'll put the link in the description as well for the full video of the Santa Fe calligraphy. But this video is just specifically for safety technology. Now, if you're looking at a Hyundai product, most of the things that you see in this video are going to be relevant, especially in top trim level Hyundai. So the calligraphy in Canada is the very, very highest trim level. Other top trim levels generally are called Ultimate, so it depends on what model you're looking at. So if you're looking at an Ultimate, Limited, or calligraphy, most of these features are going to be in those particular vehicles. So we're going to start on the outside and we'll go from there, okay? So we're going to start at the front, go to the back, go inside the vehicle, and I'm just going to touch on every single safety feature. All right, starting way down here at the bottom of the bumper, this is the forward-facing radar. Now, this is going to be able to detect cars in front of you and also determine exactly how far away they are. So that's what that is, safety radar system there. Now, keep in mind, this is also for the adaptive cruise control, whether or not you want to consider that a safety technology, but autonomous emergency braking obviously is going to be using information from this radar. Right above that is the forward-facing camera. That's for the 360 surround camera system, which of course makes it a little easier to see, objects in front of you when you're parking, whether or not they're, children, dogs, whatever, has that camera there. You also see we have some forward parking sensors, okay? So those sensors, they're ultrasonic sensors. They actually shoot out very, very, very high-pitched audio and wait for a return of that audio, and it's able to judge distances based on that. So a little bit different than the radar system, but same sort of result. Now, obviously, there's going to be some crash prevention technology, which is what we just covered, and then also things like your headlights. Now, these headlights are a projector-style headlight. They're LEDs, and they throw a very, very nice, fine, even light across in front of you so that you can actually see where you're going. Up here in the windshield, we have the forward-facing camera. That there is for the lane departure warning system, lane keep assistance, pedestrian detection, cyclist detection, junction turning detection, etc. So that's going to basically give the vehicle a visual representation of what's in front of it, not just a radar system and an audible representation. Let's pop the hood real quick because there's a couple things in there I want to talk about. So when vehicles are tested at crash test facilities like the IIHS or the NHTSA, National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, not only are the vehicles being tested for the occupants inside the vehicle, but also for pedestrians on the street. So they look at, what's going to happen if you accidentally hit a pedestrian. So obviously there has to be some mitigation to injuries there as well. Now, Hyundai is no different. Every company, of course, does look at how to mitigate injuries to a pedestrian in the front of the vehicle. So you can see a lot of this is just made of plastic to kind of soften that up a little bit. And then, of course, the hood is looked at as well. I don't know a whole lot about pedestrian safety mitigation, so keep that in mind. But I just wanted to quickly open this up and go a little bit in depth about the forward crash rating of the vehicle. So it does get a good rating on both sort of the full crash, the moderate overlap, which is basically the half of the front of the vehicle, and then also the minimal overlap, which is like a quarter of the front of the vehicle. It does good in every single rating. And there's a couple reasons for that. So Hyundai's designed the basically the structure in the front of the vehicle to try to deflect things off to the side a little bit. We also use a lot of advanced high-strength steel and structural adhesive, which you can see here. This is like a glue that helps to hold everything together. So when you hear about advanced high-strength steel, you know, the passenger compartment has a lot of advanced high-strength steel around it, and a lot of the body and whatnot, that's all sort of mild steel. There's a lot of crumple zone in the front of this vehicle. The motor mounts are also designed to break away and allow the motor to actually drop down so that it doesn't end up in the cabin. And then yeah, as far as the structure in the front here, all of it's sort of designed to deflect accidents or deflect impacts away from the vehicle, and also crumple to reduce the impact as well. So pretty cool. Not too different from any other brand, but just wanted to go over that real quick. Now, what is different from other brands, though, is the amount of high-strength steel that Hyundai uses. So Hyundai being the only company that manufactures their own steel, they can use a lot of that advanced high-strength steel construction, which of course helps to protect the occupants in a collision, especially a side impact collision. All right, coming down the side of the vehicle, so a couple things to talk about. So these, of course, are equipped with disc brakes all the way around, and of course, anti-lock brakes are standard now and required in North America. As well, the traction stability control system is also standard and required, so nothing too new there. That's just older technology that's getting better and better as the years go by. We do have side cameras on this vehicle, so it's basically got the 360 camera system, so you can see all around the vehicle when you're parking. The other thing in the mirror is this guy right here. That is the blind spot detection light. So basically, if you have a vehicle in your blind spot along the side here where you would normally have to shoulder check, obviously you still want to shoulder check, that's going to light up and indicate that there's a car there. The second you put your turn signal on, it's going to flash and it's going to beep. Now, the other thing that this vehicle is capable of doing, as are a lot of the other higher trim Hyundais, it has the camera on the side there, as I mentioned. That will actually give you your blind spot view. So I'm going to show you that when we're inside the vehicle. Another thing to keep in mind, this little marker light right here, another bit of safety technology. So I'm going to show you why that matters. I'm going to go ahead and put on the turn signal here real quick. Now, you'll notice that if we are a car in this car's blind spot, all right, I'm just going to hide that mirror there. So right now I can see that the vehicle is going to be turning left, but if we're up here, I can't see this light anymore, okay? And I can't see the light on the very, very front of the vehicle. What I can see, though, is the light flashing right in the mirror. So that's why these marker lights are important, so that there are 3 positions on the vehicle that are indicating which way this driver wants to go. Now, from a distance, if this vehicle were crossing over a road or whatever, you need to be able to see that as well if you're coming towards it, sort of broadside, and that's why you have a little light there and a reflector there. That's actually mandatory in Canada, and you'll also notice another reflector right here. What you may not have noticed before is that there are also parking sensors on the side of these vehicles and of course on the back. So those parking sensors, obviously as you approach a vehicle, it's going to start to beep and whatnot. This vehicle is also capable of applying the brakes if you're backing up, using the parking sensors as a guide. Now, the sensor that makes this thing work actually will also detect pedestrians and cars passing behind the vehicle. So if you're at a grocery store and you're in the process of backing out of a parking space, it's called rear cross traffic alert. It'll pick up pedestrians and cars going across the back of the vehicle. And basically the way that it's doing all of this is there's a little sensor in the bumper here. So it's not the parking sensors, it's a separate sensor that basically picks that stuff up. So as you're backing out, if you have another car beside you, you know, the bumper is going to be able to see pedestrians and cars, but you might not see them yet. It'll also hit the brakes if it detects cross traffic and you're not hitting the brakes. So that's another kind of a cool thing. Now, I talked about how the front camera picks up stuff when you're parking. Obviously, there is a backup camera here. So that is also federally mandated now. Since 2018, all vehicles have to have a backup camera. But check this out. This vehicle actually has a second camera up in above the window here. This is for the rear view mirror. So instead of having just a mirror, it's actually got a camera. Now that, of course, eliminates all of the blind spots behind you, like the seats and children sitting in the back, adults sitting in the back, whatever. So pretty cool. This actually has a camera for the rear view. Now, I'm going to show you that when we get into the vehicle as well anyway. All right, so we're getting to the inside part of the vehicle here, and before I show you kind of everything inside there, let me show you something really interesting with the tailgate. Now, this isn't just the tailgate. Everything that moves automatically in this vehicle, so your power windows, your sunroof, the tailgate, all of them have, watch this, okay, the ability to detect if something's in the way, and then they'll immediately get out of the way. So if one of your kids, puts their hand in the window and rolls it up, it's going to hit their hand, their fingers, and it's going to immediately kind of go back down. Pretty cool. Does that with the sunroof and even the power sunshade in the second row. So that's actually a sunroof right there as well. It's got a power sunshade, and you can stop that with a hand quite easily. Okay, so back here, we do have a little bit of crumple zone in the back of the vehicle, of course, but I actually want to talk about the seats. Hyundai is actually one of the few companies that manufactures their own seats, and they even use advanced high-strength steel in some of the construction of the seats, so good protection. Each one of the seats, of course, has a nice headrest to protect whiplash and whatnot. And you'll also notice all of the back seats have the top tether strap for child seats. So if you are putting child seats in any one of the 4 seats back here, it's gonna have the ability to strap on the top, which is good. Other than that, back here, you'll notice we do have curtain airbags. Now, there's an airbag tag right here, so that's going to be the next thing we talk about is the airbags. There are a lot of airbags in this vehicle, so that curtain airbag, when it goes off, it actually comes back here to protect the heads of the third row passengers, and of course stretches far forwards to protect the heads of the second row passengers. But let's go into the back here. So having a look here, you're going to notice there's another airbag tag right here. So even the second row passengers get the side pelvic airbag. So that kind of goes off right around in this spot here to protect the body of the second row passenger. All right, now one thing I can't actually show, but at least I can tell you about it, is the pretensioners in the seat belts. So each one of the lap belts in this vehicle has a pretensioner, and essentially what that means is there's a little ballistic charge that when it pops, when it explodes, the seat belt itself, like the lap belt, is tightened by a few inches. So essentially this would kind of retract into the seat, and it just pulls the lap belt a little bit tighter, which of course then pulls the shoulder belt tighter as well. Sorry, I just hit the microphone, my apologies. But yeah, each one of the seat belts has that, so that's pretty cool. Now let's talk about the structure of the roof for a moment here. So this one actually has the double panel sunroof. It's got the sunroof up front, sunroof back here. The glass in every single window on this vehicle is tempered, even the front windshield. Now, front windshields, historically, they couldn't really be tempered because they had that lamination in between, but these windows are tempered on the inside, and then there's lamination in there as well. As far as like the side windows and whatnot, some of the windows are going to be double laminated as well, but even the sunroof, both panels are tempered glass. So if those were to break for whatever reason, you're going to have, it's basically safety glass, they call it, so tempered safety glass, whatever. So while I'm still sitting here in the back seat, a moment ago we were talking about seatbelt pretensioners, but check this out. You can actually adjust the shoulder strap height for the driver and front passenger. That's really beneficial because now you can have this exactly where you need it to be instead of having the shoulder strap kind of floating above your shoulder or too tight over your shoulder. You can put that exactly where it needs to be for maximum safety. So that's pretty cool. And then right above that, not sure if you can see it, but it does say airbag right here because of course that is the curtain airbag for the front driver and passenger. And then there's another airbag for your bolster that comes out right here. Again, kind of hard to see from here. And then of course the airbag in the steering wheel and another one right there on the top of the dashboard. It says right there, airbag for the front passenger. So lots of airbags in this vehicle. Not only that, but there's an additional one right here for your knees. So the driver actually gets a knee airbag. So in the event of a forward collision, a knee airbag to protect your knees from hitting the dashboard. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so we're now in the driver's seat, and I want to talk about all of the safety technology built into this vehicle. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to start from the left and make my way to the right, and then we're going to talk about the settings within the infotainment screen that deals specifically with safety technology. First off, right here is your power e-brake. Now, your power e-brake, you might not necessarily consider this a safety feature, but this is pretty cool. It's an automatic power e-brake. It turns itself on automatically. You can also just pull it on as well, and it turns itself off automatically. So even if you forget to put on the e-brake, it's going to do it for you. Pretty nice. Just to the right of that, we have our traction and stability control, which again, I mentioned was standard in every vehicle going back to 2008, but that is right there. Now, of course, you can disable that whenever you like as well. Up here on the headlight high beam stock, it does have automatic headlights so that you're not going to accidentally forget to turn your headlights on, and it's got automatic high beams. Now, you can put the headlights in the full on position all the time, and that ultimately is the safest way to drive the vehicle, because then you'll have taillights in the back. So that's kind of cool. You've also got a one-touch turn signal, so for people who don't like using a turn signal, you know, you can just tap it and it'll turn itself on and off. But check that out, your blind view monitor right there on the left, and then I can turn on the right side and it puts a view down the other side of the vehicle right there. So of course, great safety technology capability there. Now you, again, might not consider this safety a safety technology, but it does have automatic wipers. And then in between those two stalks, you can see these little blinking lights here. Now, I can't see that in real life, so basically those are infrared lights. It's putting a matrix of light on my face, looking for my eyes, and trying to determine whether or not my eyes are looking out the front windshield. So this is the eye tracking sensor, which I'm going to get to a little bit when we talk about the safety tech in the screen there. But basically that is what's able to see my eyes and make sure that I'm actually focused on the road. I want to talk about this shifter for a moment. Again, it's one of those things that some people may or may not think is safety tech related, but it is. This is a fly-by-wire transmission, which means there is no physical linkage between the shifter and the transmission. And the reason that's important is because if we put the vehicle into drive and then we forget to take it out of drive, put it back into park, the car will do that for us. If we come to a stop, take our seatbelt off, open up the door, it's going to flip it into park for us. And if we shut the car off, it's going to flip it into park for us. So yeah, that's a safety feature. All right, so the next thing is built into the instrument cluster. You can see we have a tire pressure monitor, and one nice thing about this tire pressure monitor is that it actually is able to determine the position of the tires on the vehicle and give you the pressure. So that's why it says drive to display, because what it's going to do is it's going to figure out which tire it's actually looking at and then put the pressures on here. So if you do a tire rotation, the car will figure that out on its own. You don't need to tell it, you know, which tire is where. So that's pretty cool. Also up in the top left area here, you can see that it does have the speed limit. So it's always going to tell you what the maximum speed limit is on the road. It's also going to give you warning information underneath here. So if you're going through a school zone or something, it'll come up in there and let you know as well. Now, as far as other safety technology on the screen here, I just enabled the lane centering. That's this button right here. So that's done with this button here. You can enable and disable lane centering. So forward-facing camera to determine whether or not you're in the lines. And as a matter of fact, I can actually put this on a view. There we go. So this view here will basically tell you if there's cars ahead of you, cars beside you, and it'll also put on your blind spot monitoring information there as well. The lane centering and lane keep assist, this will actually flash if you start to drift out of your lanes. And as a matter of fact, the wheel will even vibrate if you're leaving your lane as well. So pretty cool technology there. Now, lastly here, we do have the head-up display, which I think you can see there. That's right there. So you've got 0 kilometers an hour. You'll see your blind spot monitoring information in there, your drive assistance information as well, all pops up in that little top section there. So these are now the settings for the head-up display system. So it shows you your turn-by-turn directions, media information, call information. But look at this. This is the safety tech that's built into the head-up display. So driving assistance information that comes up in the windshield displays driving assistance information such as warnings and vehicle control status in the head-up display. Blind spot safety information is unavailable if driving assistance is turned off. And then right here it says, okay, blind spot safety information displays blind spot safety information in head-up display. This information cannot be displayed if driving assistance turned off. So if I turn this off, it turns that one off as well. But this is pretty cool. So if you have a car in your blind spot, it's going to show you in the windshield that there's a car in your blind spot. You don't even need to look at the mirrors. That's pretty neat. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that are built into the infotainment screen. We're going to do that after though, because I just remembered I wanted to show you this as well. So here's your rear view mirror. Check this out. If I flip that now, it's showing us a view using that camera behind us. And the cool thing with that camera, it is hydrophobic. So this lens should stay nice and clean. But look at the resolution. It is extremely high quality and it looks fantastic. You can even see the siding on that building way back there. Now this is a little bit of a zoomed in image, but you can also raise it and lower it and change the brightness. So there's our brightness controls, and we can lower this and raise it as I mentioned. So it is a bit zoomed in as I mentioned, but the funny thing is when you're driving, it's just right. It's exactly where it needs to be. And of course you can just use a mirror as well. Now right above that you can see we've got the SOS button here. That's to call for emergency assistance. So if you are having an emergency of some sort, or if you see an emergency, let's say you see somebody getting mugged, or you just saw an accident, forest fire or whatever, you can press that and it's like calling 911. Pretty cool. But a really neat advantage of the safety technology in this vehicle is if you get into an accident, if the airbags deploy, any Hyundai that has BlueLink, which is most of them now, will automatically call emergency services to your location to render assistance. So that's pretty cool. Now, BlueLink in Canada is supposed to be free for 3 years, but everyone that's had it for more than 3 years still seems to be getting it for free. So it doesn't appear like it's going to cost anything. We don't really know exactly what's going on there, but hell, it's free, so why not use it? All right, so now I'd like to go through the infotainment system real quick and just show you all of the safety related information in there. So where you can enable and disable everything, and then of course what they are and what they do. All right, so to get to all of the safety stuff, we're gonna start with setup. It's right here. Now you can also hit the setup button on the vehicle. Now this is gonna be the same in any Hyundai with the CCNC system, and even systems that are a little bit older are gonna have most of the stuff as well. So we'll start by going to, you know what? We're going to start by going to the clustered head-up display, because we were looking at the head-up display options earlier, and that's where you can enable and disable some of that content. But under cluster, have a look at this. If I go to content selection, I can have it enable wiper and lights information. So as you turn on the wiper and the lights, it'll tell you exactly what's going on with it. But also here's a safety thing. So icy road warning provides a warning when roads may be icy when the outside temperature is about 39 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius or less. And then we also have blind spot view monitor, so display blind spot view in the instrument cluster when operating the turn signal switch. So guys, if you have that turned on and you've got it in the head-up display and there's a icon on the mirror and there's the blind view monitor and it's going to vibrate the steering wheel and it's going to beep, you have absolutely no excuse if you sideswipe somebody, okay? All right, let's back out of this and we're going to go to, there we go. So we're going to start here back in the setup. So we're going to go to Vehicle, and we're going to go to the Driver Assistance page. And in the Driver Assistance page, this is where you can really enable and disable, most of the safety technology. So if I go to Driving Convenience, here we have Smart Cruise Control. So that's where it, is capable of accelerating, decelerating if there's a car in front of you and you're on cruise control. Not really a safety thing, but Highway Drive Assist, this is sort of a safety related thing. So Highway Drive Assist, when you're on the highway and you've got cruise control enabled, assists driving on the highway according to the set speed and distance while keeping the vehicle centered in the lane. So it's actually able to automatically adjust dependent on the speed limit if you want. Now you can enable and disable that portion of it as well, but pretty cool. So it will literally follow down the road by itself, steering by itself, etc. And it doesn't require, predetermined highways or anything. It just does it everywhere on a highway, so that's pretty cool. Highway Lane Change Assist, automatically assist with lane changes when the turn signal is on and Highway Drive Assist is active. So if you turn on the turn signal, this car will literally do a lane change by itself. Pretty cool. Auto Highway Speed Change, so this is what I was talking about earlier, automatically adjusts this vehicle speed on a highway based on navigation data. Super cool. Okay, next thing, driving safety. So forward safety provides a warning and vehicle control when a risk of forward collision is detected. So that's not just cars, that's pedestrians, that's cars turning in front of you, like turning left in front of you, you turning left, that sort of thing, cyclists, all that great stuff. You can change the warning timing. So first, this will give you an audible tone, and then it'll hit the brakes if necessary. Forward cross traffic safety. So not only do you have cross traffic when you're backing up, but also when you're going forward. So it provides warning vehicle control, which means braking, when a risk of forward cross-traffic collision is detected. Forward and side safety provides a warning and vehicle control or braking when a risk of forward or side collision is detected. Lane safety automatically assists when steering to help prevent the vehicle from leaving the lane. So basically this one would just keep you on the road. Doesn't keep you centered, but keeps you on the road. Blind spot view monitor. Well, that's that thing. Blind spot safety provides warning when risk of blind spot collision is detected and provides vehicle control or braking when departing a parallel parking spot. Super cool. So if you're exiting a parking spot and there's a car coming down the road, it's going to hit the brakes to prevent you turning out in front of that car. Safe exit assist provides warning and door control when an approaching vehicle is detected in the vehicle's blind spot while exiting the vehicle. Super cool. So if you're about to swing the door open and there's a car coming down the road, it's going to let you know that, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. All right, now if we go to driver attention warning. So we have leading vehicle departure alert. So if the car in front of you goes, it'll give you a little warning saying, hey, you can go. And here's the forward attention warning system. That's the eye tracking capability. So it provides a warning when driver is not looking forward, and this is what's detecting that. But you can turn it off, okay? So all those people that hate that, you can turn it off. Okay, speed limit. So you can set up a speed limit assistance. So adjust the vehicle's set speed based on current road speed limit when operating the up and down switch, which is right here for your cruise control. So it basically will automatically adjust to the speed limit that it sees using that forward-facing camera up there. It'll look at road signs. Speed limit warning basically just warns you with the little speed limit sign turning red. So that's the one that's in the instrument cluster there. You can actually offset that by 5 or 10 kilometers an hour, all right, or miles per hour. Speed limit information, so it's just going to basically put, a little arrow beside your analog speedometer, and then that's it. It wouldn't do anything, but we're going to put it on the speed limit warning. Here's where you can do the offset, so if you drive 10 over or 10 under or 5, whatever. Okay, then we have parking safety. So the camera, which we're going to look at in a moment, the camera, you can enable and disable the parking distance warning sensors, and then also on the top-down view. So to turn off the sensors, you would hit this button right here. This is your camera button, but that's your sensor button. You've also got top view parking guidelines, which I'm going to show you in a little bit here. Rear view parking guidelines, again, I'll show you all of that stuff. All right, so that's the camera settings. Surround view monitor automatically on, so automatically activates the surround view when parking distance warning activates. So as soon as you get close to a car, it's going to flip on the camera system, which looks like this. But again, I'm going to get back to that in a moment, okay? So parking distance warning automatically on, automatically activates parking distance warning when driving at low speeds, okay? So that's your parking sensors, and you can enable and disable that from here. So if you turn it off, but then you drive, low speeds and it detects something, it might flip it back on for you temporarily. Okay, rear safety provides a warning in vehicle control when a risk of collision is detected while reversing. That's what I was talking about earlier. And then we also have rear cross traffic safety provides warning and vehicle control when a risk of rear cross traffic collision is detected while reversing. So anytime it says and vehicle control, it's basically suggesting that it's going to hit the brakes, okay? Okay, so that's all of the parking safety stuff there. But yeah, let's have a look at that camera. So we're going to go camera on again by pressing this button here. And you can see we've got the front camera on now, but I'm going to go ahead and switch to the rear camera. So it has dynamic steering lines, and check this out, you actually see where the swing of the front of the car is going to be on the top-down view. So that's kind of cool. You can also zoom in and out of this top-down view a little bit. It's a little awkward, but you can do it. And then on the front camera, obviously there's no dynamic parking lines. But check this out, you've also got a 3D view of the vehicle, so that's super cool. You can move that around. And then of course when you hit the settings icon, it takes you back into here. So these different warning lines, they're talking about these yellow lines, right? So you can enable and disable the yellow lines. Can't imagine why you'd want to do that. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is under lights in the vehicle settings. So if we go to lights, we have our one-touch turn signal, which you can adjust. So that's when you tap the stalk, you can adjust how many times you want the signal to flash. We're going to put that on 5 flashes. The welcome mirror lights, so on door unlock and driver approach, so the little lights that come on under the door handles and the mirrors folding out. That is all automatic, so you can actually see the car, and it gives you a little bit of view, a little bit of light around it. Headlight delay, so when the ignition's turned off, the exterior lights turn off after approximately 15 seconds, so that'll, kind of light your exit from the vehicle, so that's a nice safety feature. So if you're parking in a dark alley or whatever, it's lit up for at least 15 seconds. High beam assistance, so assists in reducing the high beam glare, which affects drivers in oncoming vehicles. So it automatically turns off the high beams when it detects a vehicle coming. Interior lights always on, just eliminates all the interior lights and switches, not a big deal. Under door, there is automatically locking the vehicle's doors when you drive off, which then automatically unlock again when you come to a stop. Two-press unlock, so if you don't want the doors to completely all unlock when you put your hand in the door handle, you can set it up so that it just unlocks the door, the driver's door, or it unlocks all the doors depending on how you have that set up. And then let's see here, it's power lift gate speed. It's not really safety related. Digital key is not really safety. Digital key is kind of safety related. You can actually set this up to so that it uses your Apple Watch or your phone. If you have a smartphone like a Samsung, Google Pixel, or iPhone, you can use that as your physical key. So instead of using a key fob, you can use your phone. So that's smartphone key. And I think that's pretty much it for safety tech there. But there is an additional thing here in the setup screen. If we go to display and then blue light filter. So we actually have a blue light filter. Now it's not really a safety of the driver or occupants, but it's kind of a safety to your eyeballs. So this will actually reduce blue light in the screens at night automatically. So that's kind of neat. All right, so there is a couple of other little tiny things. One is your personal information safety. So there's actually a fingerprint reader here on the left of the instrument cluster, right there. So you can set up the vehicle to only provide your personal information in the stereo system when you use your fingerprint. So that'll be things like direct connection to your cell phone, your saved addresses in the maps. Basically anything that's in your user profile, you can lock out with a fingerprint or a 4-digit code or both. So that's one little thing. There's also another safety feature called the UVC disinfectant light. So that is right here. You can put something in here and disinfect it. Yeah, I know it's not really a safety feature unless you count, safety from viruses. But hey, I said I'd go over everything, so that was everything, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. So I think I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you enjoyed this little safe tech video thing. If you have any questions or if you think I missed something, which 100% I probably did, please leave a comment below and let me know what I missed. There is a lot of safety tech in these vehicles, and quite frankly, it's hard to stay on top of every new thing that comes out. But I hope this was somewhat enlightening for you. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Till next time, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.